Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. This is Rise Above with Mario. Now, we titled this episode How to Transform Your Life in 2 weeks. Because the truth is, you can do it in just one day. But the amazing thing is that after about 2 weeks, you really start to live in this new life of yourself, this new identity. How you get there is where most people get stuck. They think that the obstacle is overcoming all these big goals that they have for themselves. When the truth is, it's a lot of small things you're going to have to change. But the biggest issue, the biggest problem, the biggest hurdle you're going to face is going to be your mindset. And it's not going to be so much about changing it, it's about maintaining your new mind, your new life, your new way of living. Now, I created this channel, I wrote this book, Rise Above, to create the simplest guide I could, the easiest way, the easiest path for you to get there. I break down all the things that you need to do, whether you believe in them or not, in order to find that new life that you've been looking for. Because I'm sure that there is more than a few people out there that are ready to make the change, but just can't figure out how. I was in your place at one point, and that's what put me on this path. Was once I actually was able to break through and get to the other side, I knew that I then had a responsibility to come back and bring as many people as I could with me. And that's why I'm here. Hopefully, that's why you're here too. Now, in the book, I outlined a few simple, simple steps, simple habits that you would need to follow in order to quickly achieve a new way of living. It's not complicated. I've made it as simple as I could. I'll go over it here. I'll try not to divert too far off track, but I'll let you know that it worked for me. It's been over 4 years now that I've maintained not just sobriety, but a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling. I literally changed the reality I had going on just doing the things that I've outlined in this book. Now, the first thing that I had to realize was I had to have a real sense of awareness that everything going on in my life was constructed from the moment I came out of my mother's womb up until a few years later when I was about 4 or 5. And even though I have very vague memories of things that happened at around those ages, the truth is so many things had to happen to put me on the path that I was on of self-destruction, of addiction, of so many things that I didn't want to do, not realizing that these were all programs that I had put into me. Now, I see we got a couple people here on the chat. My channel name is Donkey Adventures. You made this book? Yes, sir. I wrote this book here. Took me about 2 years of writing, rewriting, editing, changing it. This is the only physical copy right now. I did it on Canva. I had it mailed out to myself a few months ago. I have it available online. It's on Amazon. I have it on Amazon as a link, as an ebook. Anybody's more than welcome to check it out. It's only a few dollars. Again, quick, simple read. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about you and what you can do to change your life. So again, the first step in this is awareness. Now that you've become aware that you're not the problem, that it's simply just an issue of your program, your next step is how do you change your program? How do you rewire it? Well, half the job is just realizing that you're running on a program. Most people don't realize it. People think that they have a free will, that these thoughts they have, the things they do are just a part of who they are, and that's just not true. We're all just following patterns that were put into us at a young age. Now, The beautiful thing is that when you're able to snap out of it, you can now start to build your own life, construct your own blueprint for what you want in this world. Now that's where this book comes into play. There's about five things that I focused on from day one, 4 years ago, and that I've never taken my attention off of. Now, the first one was, and this may work for some people, may not. Truthfully, I don't even think you don't need to be a religious person. You don't need to even believe, if I'm being honest. But if you can submit to God and understand that everything happened for a reason, everything in your life had to happen the way it's happened up until this point, you get a sense of freedom to where you can stop feeling like a victim, stop feeling helpless, and start understanding that everything that's led up to this point was part of the journey. That's the first thing. Now, the next thing is most people, majority of people are dealing with some sort of financial crisis. And the truth is, most of us, including me for a long time, aren't really even aware what money is, what finances are. We all just look at money as a paycheck that we receive every 2 weeks that we never have enough of. And we're always like a dog chasing our own tail. Yes, all things are meant to be. That's right. But this is the beautiful part. We now live in a day and age where so much information is available to us that you can start to understand what money really is. Is it important? Yes, but not for the reasons that you may have thought of. Money's not here for you to buy nice things and to to try to present yourself to other people as somebody who you want them to see you as. None of that shit matters. Money is just a tool, an exchange, and the key to money is your freedom. If you can stop exchanging all your time for a little bit of money and figure out how to start making money without giving up the most precious thing, which is your time, you'll find true freedom. That's a big reason why I created this book, big reason why I have this channel, because these things take time. These aren't overnight things. See, the easiest thing for one to do is to go trade all their time for a little bit of money. Now, I'm sitting here telling you this as somebody who has a 48-hour a week job. I work in construction. I have I have a family, I have bills to pay. So everybody has responsibilities, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay in that situation. But you have to start understanding and getting yourself educated with finance, with money, how it works, how this economy works, everything that they don't want you to know. And who is they? Well, that's just about anybody that has power to control us, to control you. So financial education has to be at the top of your list. After that, you have to start working on your mind. If you can build a strong mind, the body will follow. You build a strong mind, your body will follow. How do you achieve that? Well, number one, as I've already said, you start devoting your life to God and you find a new spiritual sense, a new spiritual purpose in your life to understand that you can look at everything in a negative or positive way. Nothing has true meaning. You give everything meaning. And if you can start looking at things in that way, you'll quickly start changing your life from day one by instead of looking at every bad thing that happens as some sort of negative event, and instead start looking at these things as opportunities, as blessings. If you can stop blaming everybody else and take all that and put it on yourself, you stop giving away your power. You stop handing your keys to other people to drive the vehicle of your life, and you're just simply sitting in the passenger seat, and instead jump in the driver's seat and take charge and finally go. So many people are happy being in the passenger seat because it's a lot easier to blame somebody else when they're driving. Now, you can achieve this through meditation. Meditation is something else I highlight in this book. Meditating is something I started from day one, and I was not a believer. I am telling you that right now. The first day I did it for 10 minutes. I felt silly. I felt ridiculous doing it, but I knew from what I had learned, from what I had studied, that it was going to eventually help me in the long run. And it sure as heck did. It took a while. I did it. I stayed consistent. And in a matter of a few weeks, I ran into my first real um, life life changing moment where normally I would have broke real easily. I won't go into too many details, but unfortunately, I had an older family member of mine, cousin, who was murdered by what ended up being somebody who was just psychologically not okay, a stranger, was killed in cold blood. And I remember thinking how, as much as it hurt, I was able to understand that that moment was much bigger than me. And in the past, I would have looked at it as a reason, as an excuse to just blow everything up around in my life, to go get drunk, to go start pretending like I'm a victim in this. But because I was now in a clear state of mind, at this point I had been sober about 3, 4 months. Again, I'd been meditating, that the first thing that came to my mind was his daughters, my mom, who was close to him for a long time, people that I knew were going to need me to be there for them. So, and a lot of other things happened after that that made me grateful that I started meditating from day one. Now, the next thing after that was getting my physical shape back back in order. I had totally given up on working out, on eating right. So once I made nutrition and I made exercise a priority, I put all these things together. My awareness, my my faith, my everlasting faith in God, building a strong, resilient mind through meditation, and now making nutrition and exercise mandatory. I am telling you, in about 2 weeks, I'll never forget. It had been about 2 weeks when I looked back, and it was almost as if it had been, and I'm not exaggerating, I felt as if it had been months since this old me was there. I couldn't believe how how much time, how much I had wasted in this old state of mind after I was able to put myself where I was at now. And again, that was 4 years ago. Since then, I've moved out of the state I grew up in, left Los Angeles, live now in Texas with my family, working in construction, which I always wanted to do back in Los Angeles, and I never was able to get in there. And everything happened when it needed to happen. And again, none of this, nothing leading up till now was perfect. There have been so many bumps in the road. There's going to be more, but because I've been able to stay consistent with everything I've said in this book, that anytime I've had something that I would have looked at as a setback in the past, I now literally look at it as a challenge of how bad do I really want this life that I'm trying to give to everybody else? How can I sit here and tell you guys how to build a strong mind, a strong body if I'm not willing to do it myself? I refuse to be a phony. I refuse to be a fake. I refuse to put myself out there and not listen to my own advice. So take that as however you want, but know that I'm giving this to you because I know I have a responsibility to help somebody out there that's where I was at prior to this, looking for any sort of help, any sort of guidance to get out of the hell that I was in. My family needed me, my kids needed me, I needed me, and I couldn't figure it out. So I'm telling you, If you can start working on your awareness, start realizing that you do have a program. We are all set up with a program. And if the program you have is not one that you like, you can change it. Don't listen to anybody that says that you're destined to be who you are because of your last name, because of where you grew up, or because of what you look like. The world is going to tell you that. People you work with are going to tell you that. Everything you see on TV is going to tell you that. That's why you need to shut all of that off and start just focusing on yourself. Start reading and understanding the Bible because the Bible is not about religion. The Bible is not about trying to get you to conform to a certain ideology of Christianity or Catholicism or whatever it is. The Bible is literally giving you stories about things that have happened so you can learn the lessons from it and apply it to your own life. One of the most amazing things to me that I learned reading the Bible early on was one of the first stories I learned was about Abraham. How Abraham was from a different, he grew up with a different name, and God told him he had to leave his father's home in order to be blessed with the blessings that God had in store for him. I didn't know the story until after I had already left where I was from. And I realized then that I could never be who I really was destined to be if I stayed where I was at before. Because too many things were going to remind me and hold me back of the past of the guy I used to be. So don't be afraid to make the changes that you need to step into your destiny. Again, start practicing meditation, 10 minutes a day. There's amazing teachers online, but really all you really want to do is just sit in your own thoughts for 10 minutes and you'll quickly start to be able to see the negative thoughts as they come in real life. I read once that the true purpose of meditating is being able to meditate while you're awake, being able to get into that state of meditation at any point of your day so you can stay in a calm and tranquil moment. Because what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of sicknesses come from being constantly stressed out. Our nervous system, if it gets out of whack, it'll start producing sicknesses that then get mislabeled, we get misdiagnosed, and then get stuck on medicine that's not even required. You can avoid all that by focusing on your meditation. Again, you start eating right, start eating whole foods, start doing some sort of exercises. Any exercise will do. I've had people tell me what's better, CrossFit or weightlifting, running or this. It doesn't matter. You just want to get moving. You want to get your body moving. You want to remind your body that you're alive, that you're awake, that you're an energetic being, and you'll see that doing all these things will not only transform your life in 2 weeks, it'll transform the way you look, the way you act, the way you feel, and the way people look at you in a very short amount of time. I am giving you my my promise on that. So again, the link is up on the profile. I'll check back in tomorrow night. Hope everyone does good. Thank you guys.